Om Shanti, and welcome to Soul to Soul. This is Rose from Glasgow, Meditation Centre, InnerSpace, and we're going to talk tonight about this very, very interesting subject of Tapasya. So Tapasya means looking at the self. People talk about deep Tapasya, and sometimes people think that to sit for half an hour's meditation and think of peace and God and spiritual things is Tapasya, and in a way it's very useful for Tapasya. But Tapasya is meditation in action. To be a tapaswi means, as far as I understand, according to Raj Yoga Meditation, is we have yoga, we practice peace, and we practice self-awareness, and we look at the good qualities of the self, and to reflect on these good qualities and put them into practice during action is Tapasya. Because during action I can get caught up in the way I would normally do things and maybe interact with feelings of worry, etc., or be concerned with whatever comes in front of me. But if I've been practicing Tapasya, I'll want to give it my best shot. So the process of self-improvement is what we're all practicing if we're looking at Raj Yoga Meditation. And this requires Tapasya, because otherwise I'll forget and I'll react in the old way over and over and over again. So if we sincerely have a deep wish to know ourselves and to figure out how our own thinking energy works, it's almost like being a spiritual scientist. And if you're not really interested in understanding yourself, do you think that others should be interested in you? If I'm not interested in myself, why should they be interested in me? So with Tapasya, I teach myself to give myself a lot of attention. How I am, what I desire, what outcome I would like to see. And usually there's something so good in us that we want the best to come out, and then we get a bit annoyed with ourselves when the best didn't come out. And something else came out instead, and we think, oh, I should have said, I should have done, and oh gosh, but I'll do that the next time. But if I'm going to do it the next time, I would have to check myself and tell myself and sit in this, what we might call Tapasya, and teach myself that, oh, no, I'm going to do it this way. So Tapasya and inner focus is easy when there's curiosity, when I'm curious as to what goes on inside my own self. It's like when a business person is making a lot of money. They would never lose interest in making the money. They would be full attention. So words like self-discipline and intense meditation and solitude, or giving up and letting go, can make this sound like hard work. But once the spark of interest in the self is ignited, once I start to think, like a business person, it's actually easy to observe my thinking energy. It becomes very easy. I'm able to see the way I do things, and some of the things I might appreciate a great deal and think, yeah, in other things I might think, whoops. And so it teaches me to seriously know my energy and how it works, how it goes up and down and dips and surges. And so I can prompt myself again and again to watch my thoughts. And whilst doing that, I don't have to sit for hours in deep, deep, deep meditation. I'm still getting on with my life and still interacting with others, being friendly with others, cooperative with others. But I keep my inner eye on my thinking and feeling. That's really the important thing. Then I can give it my best shot and feel okay about whatever interaction or whatever came my way. So this really is a very, very straightforward approach to being a tapasya. When I see stress and troubles in the world, I do care deeply. It's not that we get so engrossed in the self, because the reason we go in for self-improvement is to be of use. So I don't get angry and hopeless, because I'm busy creating positivity and peace inside myself. And I've made a decision inside myself to interact in a calm, useful, reassuring, helpful way. Again, this is my understanding of being a tapasya. I won't get tangled up in destructive energies. I'll keep myself away from those, such as fighting and quarrelling. It doesn't mean I run away, but whilst being there and maybe in front of fighting and quarrelling, I'll do my best to keep my energy of peace to be up there in the front and involved with those energies and calming and soothing those energies and keeping myself reassured and steady and stable. Again, this is a tapasya soul. Tapasya is the awareness of my own self at every step. To remember who we are and remember the divine. When I remember the divine and the qualities of the divine, and also remember, as Raj Yoga is teaching us, that as a soul we share those same energies, and that everyone in front of me is a soul. But everyone in front of me has moved on to using maybe the anger and the quarrelling, etc., and are distressed. So if I was to take seriously my role now in the world, it would be my role to do everything just to send out accepting, understanding, friendly, helpful vibrations of peace and love in a very natural and normal way, which could help to take the top off these forceful energies. So if I stay in the world of spiritual light and be like a lighthouse and a lighthouse and remember the things I've been teaching myself and the energies that are within me but now are accessible to me as a tapasya, it encourages me to create something new over and over again. And to feel that happiness of thinking, gosh, success, I didn't know that I could remain so steady in such an atmosphere, or I didn't know that I would be required to be so useful. I didn't know I would be there for someone to say thank you. I feel much better now. I didn't know I was going to be asked to be that, so it became more and more natural to be like a lighthouse. Create something new. Why do we say a lighthouse? A lighthouse usually is on the edge of the ocean, and the storms of the ocean I haven't heard of, but maybe some have, where a lighthouse crashes, but hardly ever does it get harmed by the force of the ocean, and it continues to give out light, which helps them all to find the shore. All the ships and the boats find land through the power of the lighthouse. So to be a lighthouse and a lighthouse, it is like living in a different space. So I teach myself to be in this different space, and it brings happiness to the self. It gives me back my self-respect. I'm still getting on with my life. I'm still interacting with others, but I'm being friendly and cooperative. But I'm keeping the inner eye on my thinking and my feelings. And so actually it's very, very easy to observe our thinking energy. It's not difficult. Once we start the process, if we're doing meditation anyway, it just gives us a different way to look at things, to focus on what is good in me. Because this is, we have started to do meditation for self-improvement. And if I don't know who I'm improving, and I don't know what I have to improve, and I don't know the energies that are at my fingertips, in a way it's like being a spiritual artist, I would say, because an artist has a palette of colour, and it's like I can use the colours, the utensils, the tools. I practice using them, and then I get quite surprised to see that it actually works. And so it doesn't mean people are going to applaud me, because they won't. It's energy. So a lot of the time people won't know that energy has touched them. And they'll just treat you quite offhand and normal and no big deal, whatever it was. In fact, they might think it was them. And they might start praising themselves. So it teaches us to be humble without ego. So I have to keep my inner eye on my own thinking and feeling, and remain curious about what is possible for me to do, and create something new. And it is like awareness of myself at every step. But remember that I'm a soul, a being of energy, and remember the divine, the one above. Okay?
I like this theme that it's something easy, because the word tapasya does tend to be associated with sort of renouncing and giving up and letting go and solitude and silence and withdrawal, and all of these things can sometimes come across as a little bit daunting or austere. And then I liked the bit about the businessman, the business person, the businesswoman making a huge profit, and the interest in the self would be so natural.
I think that, I mean, we're talking from the West, and this is more an Eastern custom, but it's been associated with holy men. and gurus, etc. So ordinary people think that there's no way they could do tapasya. It requires them to run away, leave their houses, as you're saying, and give up all the different things so they can focus only on stillness, silence, peace, and light, and austerity. But no, it's not like that. It's the way we look inside and see it and then use our own energy.
And it's self-improvement.
Self-improvement. Yes. Because you would never have thought to be kind and gentle at some point. You would have just got stuck into whatever was the argument. To try and prove yourself that you knew better, or to try and stop an argument through a bit of force. You wouldn't know there was another way.
And there was another part where you said, how can I expect others to be interested in me if I'm not interested in my own self and how I work and how I think? That's a good point, because I can be looking out for attention and yet I'm not attending to myself properly.
Yeah. Again, we're used to looking for approval from others all the time. And it's so important to us that others approve. And it would be so important to us that we would win the argument. And it'd be so important that they would say, good for you, well done, you managed to beat that person. And, you know, and then you expect them to see that, oh, what a wonder you did there, you're a wonder. So we maybe think that self-improvement and meditation is going to get this big applause. But I tell you, to my experience, that it doesn't actually happen like that. Because in a very natural and lovely way, you quietly change. You quietly start to use your original energies. And it doesn't make that big wow factor because it's not force. But it has a huge beneficial impact on your entire surroundings.
I think that's the key word, is force, actually, when that kind of quite often goes along with that thought of austerity and sort of intense meditation. There's a feeling of force, and you're saying it's not that at all.
No, it's not that
it's
at all. Not in the least. Okay.
So you mentioned something so good inside us, and when we want to self-improve, it's usually because we're not seeing lots of good. So how do we start to identify the good and then not get, you said we get annoyed when we see that the best didn't come out in a scene as well. So when the best doesn't come out, how do I move on with all
You
this?
just have to start to have faith in yourself, really, and start to believe in yourself. And if you're practicing meditation and practicing that you're a soul and thinking about being a soul and attending spiritual classes if possible, so it's like an education on who we really are. And if I'm doing this, I begin to realize I am a kind soul. I am a generous-hearted soul. I am someone who doesn't like violence. I am someone who wants to be helpful. I am someone who wants to appreciate others. And this way of thinking encourages me to appreciate myself. When I do appreciate myself, it's real. And so I'll keep that faith going in myself. Excuse me. Even when I get daunted, I'll keep going because I'll think, no, I am peaceful, I am kind, I'm generous-hearted, I don't like violence.
So you keep mentioning things about study and spiritual classes. This attention on the self seems to be spurred on by fresh information and new ideas, and so how should I study? What kind of things would you recommend?
I think if you start to look at Raj Yoga Meditation and find out the information that goes along with it, like all things, you have to start somewhere. A lot of people will do the course in Raj Yoga Meditation and find out that they are a soul, and then they'll be, advised to practice their meditation. And to also think that there's like thousands and thousands and thousands of people practicing this Raj Yoga meditation, and that vibration is throughout the whole world, and it's a huge power. When you look out there, you'll see the power of violence throughout the whole world. That's a huge power. But alongside that, there is another vibration, and almost like another world of people who are practicing meditation and practicing peace. And that vibration of peace is in every corner of the world. And so quite often when you're doing meditation, you're not alone. You might be alone, but you're not alone. You have almost like a cloud of support coming from the whole world. It's like you've joined the other side, the non-violent energy. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It does make sense, because the minute you even just have that thought, it's like you can feel a feeling of support and welcome.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So thank you for listening, and now we'll just finish with a few minutes of Raj Yoga meditation. So we sit very comfortably if possible, and keep our eyes open, and be aware that we are energy in the center of the forehead. I'm the soul, the point of living life, energy. I am this point of living light, and I'm in the center of my forehead. Just remember who you are, and remember the divine, the one above, and practice being in this world of spiritual light. And remember that we're sitting alone, focusing, but we're joined by thousands of others who are also focusing. And this is a very powerful energy of peace. I am a soul. I am like a living lighthouse. Others can often feel that energy of peace, even if they are not practicing meditation. It can touch their hearts. And so just feel that we are creating newness, freshness, calmness, and keep my inner eye on myself, on my thinking and my feeling. Actually, it is very, very easy to create this peaceful and thinking energy, and to be interested in ourselves as living light energies, and to become an example for our own self and an example for the world. And let those rays of energy of the self combined with the divine and the thousands and thousands of others touch the world. I am a soul, a being of light, a being of beautiful, beautiful life energy. Om.